In my previous video, I ranked the top 10 character hit abilities in Tekken 8, so it's only fair that I made a list of the weakest character hit mechanics in the game as well. Now this time around, it won't be a top 10 list, it will be a top 5 list, and that's only because I don't feel as though there are that many weak character hit abilities in the game. So this list will only be a top 5. And again, this list is only based on the hit gimmicks the character receives when they go into hit. So this excludes hit burst, hit smash, hit engages, and hit dash as well. So without further ado, let's jump right in. Okay, so opening up my list at number 5 is Leo, and for reference, I'll be calling Leo a he because I prefer calling him a dude. Okay, so Leo's hit is basically the same as Claudio and Brian's hit. He basically has snake eyes or starburst, so he can get this mod by doing certain moves like forward 2 and holding down key charge. So this buffs 3 of his moves. So firstly, it buffs his hell sweep, giving it an extra hit at the end or an extension, so it becomes a down back 4-1-2 from down back 4-1. He also gets an extension to his back 3-1 mid, and this mid becomes safe as well. The last hit becomes safe, and he also gets an extension to his 14 frame punish, so forward 2-4-3. So he gets these 3 buffs when he goes into his snake eyes or his starburst. So when Leo goes into hit, he gets infinite use of these 3 moves at the cost of his hit gauge, because if you don't have hit, when you use these moves, the starburst goes away. The starburst buff or the hit, the snake eyes buff, whatever you want to call it, goes away. So that's basically how Leo's hit mechanic works, just like Brian and just like Claudio. But you can't really compare these 3 moves to what Brian and Claudio get. Like, the hell sweep is good, there's some decent damage, 31, 37 to 39 if you're close range, but it doesn't compare to Kazuya's hell sweep either when he gets his hit buff. So it's good, but it's not that effective, right? You don't even get a war splat compared to Hwoarang's hell sweep as well. Hwoarang's hell sweep can war splat you as far as like a post death fist whilst in hit, but Leo does not get that luxury for some reason. Her back 3-1-2 is also good. Look at me calling her now. His back 3-1-2, shit. His back 3-1-2 is also decent at best. It was actually nerfed. This thing was so good before because you can hit confirm it, right? You can just do back 3-1, and if it doesn't hit, you just back or you don't commit. But now you can't hit confirm, you can't even use it as a mix-up because you can just mash, right? And you still block the whole string. Like after the first hit lands, you can still mash. So you can't use it like a mix-up and just use like back 3-1 because it's unsafe. So it doesn't really do much outside of being a mix-up for the hell sweep. And like I said, compared to what Brian gets and what Claudio gets, this isn't really as effective as those 2 particular hit mechanics. Like Claudio gets a fucking Shoryuken that goes under jabs and launches on normal hit. Like, come on, man, right? He gets an extension to his 14 frame punish, so forward 2-4-3 for more damage, and that's basically it. Can transition to stance as well, but it's only like +2, so you can't really like lock down your opponent with this string either way. So it's a good hit mechanic, but like very underwhelming in my opinion. Like if Leo goes into hit, you're like, okay, he has hit, right? Nothing I need to worry about. So in my opinion, I think it's very, very underwhelming and deserves a spot on this list as one of the weakest hit mechanics in Tekken 8. So at number 4 we have Reina. So when Reina goes into hit, 3 of her strings get extensions that make the string safe. So without hit, all of these strings are unsafe at -14. So her 3+4-4, -14 on block, her 3-4 as well, -14 on block, and her forward 3+4 I think is launch punishable actually on block if you don't charge it all the way. So when Reina goes into hit, she gets an extra extension like I said, and these strings now become safe at -8 with some decent pushback, and they do massive damage. I believe 50+ if you get hit by these strings. The other aspect to her hit is she gets a parry in her Heaven's Wrath. She can parry mids and highs as well, but can't parry lows and throws. So now the mids are the biggest aspect of her hit because you don't really see the parry even at high level because it can be thrown. You just throw her or go low. It's easy, very easy to counter Reina with the parry in her hit. So her parry, whilst her parry is good, it's very redundant in my opinion. You never actually see players use this, maybe in lower ranks or like mid to lower ranks. The strings as well are not really all that effective. Firstly, 3-4-4 does not war splat. 3+4 4-4 as well does not war splat. The only one that war splats is the 4-3+4-4 with the guard break, and doesn't even do all that much damage. Not that easy to pull off as well. I know Reinas have some really good setups for this, but like sometimes just lay on the ground and this mix-up is dead, right? So it's not really effective. So when Reina is in hit, like you just block, bro. Like just block. When you get hit by this, it's 50 damage, but like it's not like she's plus when she throws this out, she loses her turn. There's really nothing to it. She just gets strong, powerful mids. And again, this can't compare to other stronger hit mechanics in the game, like Claudio's uppercut whilst in hit. She just gets that for free. Even Lars, limited entry 2, launches on normal hit, but like Reina just gets these mids that you can just block, bro. Like just block, even sidestep, unless she throws out 3, of course, being a homing move. So like whilst this hit is decent, like decent at best, you don't really have to change up your playstyle when Reina goes into. You don't really have to worry about anything. Like just block, bro. And she loses so much hit gauge by throwing these out, so Reinas won't spam these as much. Her parry again is maybe the best aspect of the hit, but like even that can just be easily countered. So this is why I've decided to put Reina on this list as well and place her at number 4 of the most underwhelming hit mechanics in Tekken 8. Zafina makes it at number 3. So Zafina's hit revolves around her Azazel arms. Whilst not in hit, using these arms comes at the cost of some of her health, leaving her some grey health. She can always heal up, but when you go into hit, you can use them for free at the cost of your hit gauge instead of your grey health. The Azazel arms also become power crush, so that's pretty good for her, and that's basically it. That's how her hit mechanic works. Now this for me does not do much for how much the hit gauge costs. Like using these arms takes up so much hit gauge, bro. Like with the full hit gauge, you can only use a maximum of 3 Azazel arms, and for what they do, I don't think this is fair for Zafina. Compared to, again, I'll just keep using Claudio as an example, right? Claudio's uppercut, like he gets that for free, and he can use it like 3 to 4 times, but like Zafina just gets a power crush arm and she can only use it 3 times and her hit gauge is done. Like, excuse me? And let's be honest, how many of us have been hit by a power crush Azazel arm? Let's be honest, you don't get hit by this many times, because when Zafina goes into stance, she's usually plus, right? And that's why you rarely see this actually work in matches. Yes, she can disrespect you by going in, like, let's say 1-3 into Scarecrow. If you disrespect, you can throw out the power crush arm, but like that's it, right? It's good in that sense, but like you never really see all that much of the Azazel arm actually working out, and that's why I think this character is actually getting buffed in season 2, and giving her an install will make this aspect way better. But as of right now, it's just underwhelming. It doesn't really play out as the devs intended it to be, at least in my opinion. That's why I think she makes it at number 3. Okay, Nemi gang, before we talk about the top 2, for those of you that are not subscribed and find yourself enjoying this content, please do consider subscribing. Over 80% of you guys that watch my videos are still not subscribed. Like, why? Brother, slap that sub, brother. I'm on a road to 10k subs and I'm almost there. I just need your help. So if you find my content worth it, please do consider subscribing to your boy. Anyway, let's get into the top 2. And this one might come as a surprise to a lot of you, but King actually makes it at number 2. Now this is mainly because of, I think, a bug or just bad balancing, but I'll break it down. So King's hit revolves around 2 particular gimmicks. Firstly, for every throw that King gets whilst in hit, he regains some hit gauge back. Not for every throw, but some of his biggest throws, like his pedigree, his muscle buster, his giant swing, and his shining wizard as well. This is one aspect. The second aspect revolves around his Jaguar dash, his forward 3+4. So whilst not in hit, this is just like a regular dash that has a bunch of moves in it, has a throw in it, has a mid kick, has a low as well as an elbow, a clothesline as well. So when he goes into hit, the Jaguar Dash 1 becomes a normal launcher, instant screw on hit, When not in hit, this just knocks down, giving you a guaranteed follow-up, people's elbow into down 3+4. But when it goes into hit, this becomes a launcher. This is the scariest thing about King's hit in my opinion. Now, why is King ranked at number 2? Like, what makes this so bad? Because this is a very strong mix-up, bro. Like, Jaguar Dash 1 being a normal launcher, you are not ducking when King is running at you. That's scary, I agree. Now, the biggest reason why this is at number 2 is you can just jab King out of his power crush. So the Jaguar Dash becomes a power crush in hit. I don't know if I mentioned that as well, which makes it very scary. The whole idea is King is a very heavy defensive character with, you know, the use of his down back 1+2 power crush. King's be using this in neutral. Then when he goes into hit, he's supposed to be like this unstoppable force that's always running in your face with the Jaguar Dash, of course being a full power crush. So you can just jab King out of this, right? Just stand there, and when King is running in your face, just jab him out. Jab, jab, jab. And this will interrupt every option that King has from his Jaguar Dash, bro. Every single option. So what this means is King cannot enforce this mix-up against an opponent. He has to use it as an Oki Zeme option, which basically means it changes nothing from his regular Jaguar Dash. The only difference is his Jaguar Dash now becomes a launcher, which is still scary, but this only limits his option to Oki Zeme setups and not enforced mix-ups as this was intended to be. This is a huge bug, or like a huge mishap on the balancing side of things. I think the armor needs to be all the way through. Like, you are only left with Okizeme options. You never, and I mean never, see this power crush at high level unless only it's an Okizeme setup like off the ground. Liu Majin is a god at using it in that sense, but other than that, honestly, you never see any King players running at you with this power crush Jaguar Dash. Lower ranks maybe, but at high level you never see this, and that's why I think this one deserves to be on the list as well, because like, man, this is huge. I actually just discovered this a few days ago. I had no idea this was the case, honestly, and I was like, bro, this is huge. Like, this is, I've always wondered why King players never use this, but then I saw this, I was like, bro, this is a massive L. So until this is buffed, I think it does deserve to be on the list as one of the worst hit mechanics in the game. Was like, you're limited to only Okizeme options, which you won't always have the luxury of having, and that's why you rarely see King mains at high level use this Jaguar Dash in that sense. So that's why King makes it at number 2. And finally, at our number 1 spot, we have Li Chao Bla, not Marvelous. Now, this list is not in order, but if I were to name the worst hit mechanic in the game, I would give it to Li, man. Like, Li's gimmick is actually ass. Like, it sucks. Now, like, most characters get something good in hit, like a good gimmick or a good ability or a good move. Eddie gets 3+4, Claudio gets his Shoryuken, even Lars gets a good LE mix-ups, Raven gets safe clones, but Lee gets nothing, bro. He just gets easier just frames. Like, you're given just frames for free when Lee is in hit. And whenever you land that perfect just frame, you regain some hit, which honestly doesn't do much. Like, let's be honest, if you main Lee, you should be able to do just frames. You should not be relying on the hit mechanic for you to get those just frames for free. You should be able to do your just frames. So this doesn't mean shit, especially for high level or good Lee players, because they can land their hit, they can land their just frames every single time. So yes, you keep your hit and you have hit gauge refunded if you land that perfect just frame, but like, what is there for you in that hit except for this? Right? Like, it could have been sick if Lee had a very strong move that you could use in hit as a reward for landing those just frames. Like, maybe if they made 3-3 a mid, right? Like, that would be sick. The 3-3 into the kick, the just frame version, like, that was a mid. Like, I would be scared. I'm like, damn, Lee has this unblockable whilst he is in hit. Like, that for me would make a difference. But as of right now, yeah, bro, Lee's hit ain't it. He needs some love. He needs a massive buff to this hit mechanic. A lot of people say like this is how every hit should be in the game, and honestly, I don't agree. I think hit needs to bring out something out of the character, like more personality, you know, like hit abilities like Devil Jin. I really love Devil Jin's hit because like it brings out his identity out more. Like Lee rolls around just frames, I do understand that, but that does not mean the character should suck ass or his hit should suck ass just for that. So yeah, I think this is in contention for being the worst hit mechanic in the game. Boys, I done fucked up. I forgot about Jin. At the time of recording, I remembered Jin, bro. I don't know how I forgot about Jin whilst capturing content for this character. I think it's because I'm so used to seeing this character talked about in a positive way of being strong and top tier. His hit mechanic actually sucks as well. So he has his Omen power crush when he is in hit, which gives him mix-ups. He has a mid electric and a launching hell sweep, but the thing is, hell sweep is a bit reactable, so you never really see many people getting hit by this. It does some good chip damage, that's all that it's good for, and it only works at the corner. You don't have that much range when using this Omen stance. It's only very effective at the corner and just for pressure, and not so much the mix-up itself. It's very risky. But I don't understand how I forgot about Jin. Oh my days. So if I were to rank Jin's hits, his hit gimmick, yeah, I do think it's worse than Leo's. I would place him at number 5 and I would take out Leo. Maybe I'll just say it's a top 6 list and I would add Jin at number 6. Yeah, like you specifically need the war, which honestly shouldn't be the case for a hit mechanic, and that's why I think Jin also deserves to be on the list. Okay, so now to talk a bit more about why this is a top 5 list, or I guess top 6 at this point now. So like I say, there aren't that many weak hit abilities or hit mechanics in this game. Like outside of these characters, I can't think of anyone else unless I missed someone like I did Jin, but I just don't see it. People might say Panda, but Panda's hit is actually OD to some degree, not as good as Kuma's, but it is decent. Panda can actually stay safe when she does her barrel into the 50-50 mix-up between the high unblockable and the mid. Kuma has to take a risk because it's either a high or an unsafe mid, but Panda can stay safe with shooting style, so it's actually pretty decent. Heihachi, also people might say it's mid, but Heihachi gets a very strong homing moves in upward 4 with the spike, and his spike from the combo damage is actually pretty strong as well, so I think his hit is pretty OD. People might bring up Devil Jin, and like I said, Devil Jin is one of my favorite hit mechanics in the game because it brings out more so of his personality, the laser beams and such. He gets a mid safe tracking launcher as a mix-up to his hell sweep. Yes, it's pretty slow, but this is very strong as an Okizeme too, so on knockdown you can use it as a mix-up to get in. He also gets upward 3+4 with a laser beam extension for more damage. That's pretty strong. He also gets a laser scraper spike with the laser beam follow-up that does a shitload of damage. So Devil Jin's hit is actually pretty good. Someone might say Nina to bring out the pistols being highs, but like these are 13 frame and 14 frame punishers as well, and they do 50+ damage in the worst plat from fucking Antarctica, man. That is massively strong. She also has her back 3+4, sorry, her back 1+2 death by degrees, that worst plats and takes away gray health. That's very strong. Also we have Clive, who has massive strings that implement his mix-ups. He can mix you up by doing these strings and cancelling into a mix-up stance, or committing to these strings and staying safe. So I just don't see any other weak hit mechanics, or at least weaker than these top 6. But if you disagree, like bro, I'm in the comment section, let me catch you, come at me bro, like come at me, talk to your boy. So anyway, something that I wanted to touch upon concerning why this isn't a top 10 list, and like I just don't see any other weak hit mechanics in this game. So anyway guys, that's my list. If you agree, if you disagree, let me know in the comment section below. As usual, if you like this video, don't forget to doria that like button, subscribe if you're new, and may the frame rate be ever in your favor. GG, Nami gang.